The video documents a severe incident involving a truck transporting large, heavy sheets of glass stacked vertically. As a worker operated in close proximity to the load, the entire stack of glass suddenly lost its stability and crashed violently off the truck bed. The massive sheets made forceful contact with the worker, standing immediately next to the vehicle, covering the individual beneath the debris. This event serves as an absolute warning regarding the critical importance of comprehensive and correct load securement, especially for heavy, brittle, and inherently unstable materials like glass. Never enter the danger zone of a load until its stability is fully confirmed and secured. Mandatory pre-checks of all straps, bracing, and support frames must be completed before any unloading or close proximity work begins. The footage shows an individual attempting the manual demolition of a concrete column using hand tools. Despite the apparent intention, the structural integrity gave way unexpectedly and rapidly. The heavy column collapsed with swift, sudden force, leaving the worker no time to react and clear the immediate area. This incident serves as a critical warning that manual demolition of load-bearing structures is inherently unpredictable and dangerous. Proper safety protocol demands that mechanical equipment or carefully calculated, controlled methods be used for structural takedowns. Never stand within the calculated fall zone of a column, as the moment of collapse is instantaneous and unforgiving. The footage captures a crew preparing to hoist a significantly heavy load using a crane. After rigging and lifting the object, the excessive weight immediately overwhelmed the crane's capacity. Due to the force and mass exceeding the safe operating limits, the crane violently lost its stability and tipped over, resulting in the massive structure colliding forcefully with a nearby worker. This incident serves as a critical warning that operators must never bypass or overestimate a crane's load chart. Every lift requires meticulous calculation of the weight and lift radius. The consequence of operating outside the rated capacity is the sudden and destructive loss of the machine. Personnel must receive comprehensive training in emergency protocols, the location of firefighting equipment, and safe evacuation routes. Ensuring adequate ventilation, managing heat sources, and eliminating all potential ignition points are the key factors in preventing catastrophic fire outbreaks in industrial settings. The video captures an incident at a construction site where workers were utilizing a wire rope hoist or lifting equipment to move a large window panel or facade piece to an elevated position. Unfortunately, due to either equipment malfunction or unsafe rigging practices, the panel suddenly became unsecured and crashed violently down to the area below. Fortunately, the on-site workers managed to evade the falling debris just in time. This event serves as a critical warning regarding the absolute necessity of regular inspection and maintenance of all lifting apparatus. It must be ensured that all cables, hooks, and securing systems are thoroughly examined and certified safe before commencing any hoisting operation. Personnel must strictly adhere to exclusion zones and never stand beneath a suspended load. The incident powerfully underscores the need for vigilance and planning to prevent dropped materials. The video captures a critical incident where a heavy truck carrying an excessively heavy load had partially rolled off the roadway and onto the shoulder. Workers then utilized a crane in an attempt to recover or lift the stranded truck. Due to the extreme, uncalculated load of the cargo-laden truck and the crane's insufficient stabilization, likely improper outrigger placement or ground failure, the crane violently lost its balance and tipped over. This event serves as an essential safety mandate. Recovery operations involving heavy vehicles are high-risk lifts. Operators must precisely calculate the total weight of the load and ensure the crane is absolutely level and stable with properly deployed outriggers on confirmed solid ground. Never use a crane to lift loads exceeding its rated capacity, especially during complex recovery efforts. The footage documents a highly dangerous construction maneuver where a mobile crane was hoisting a massive, tall structure, such as a large formwork or containment vessel. A worker was positioned directly on top of the load, attempting to make adjustments while suspended, an absolutely forbidden safety violation. Suddenly, the lifting mechanism or the structure's rigging failed catastrophically, causing the colossal object to snap and collapse instantly to the ground. The individual was pulled down directly with the plummeting material. This incident serves as a critical warning. Personnel must never, under any circumstances, ride a suspended load. All components and rigging used for heavy lifts must be meticulously inspected, and ground personnel must strictly maintain exclusion zones outside the calculated collapse radius to prevent devastating outcomes from equipment or system failure. The footage documents an extremely hazardous practice where a worker was standing precariously on the bucket of a loader, skid steer, or similar, attempting to transfer materials to personnel at a higher level. Suddenly, the loader operator made a severe error, appearing to mistakenly press the accelerator. The machine shot forward uncontrollably at high speed, colliding forcefully with the structure and causing an immediate, localized collapse. The workers on the ground instantly scattered to avoid the falling debris and the uncontrolled vehicle. This incident serves as a critical warning. Personnel must never ride on the buckets or forks of heavy equipment. It is a catastrophic safety violation. Furthermore, operators must be fully trained and attentive to prevent operational errors that can turn heavy machinery into a hazard, underscoring the need for strict safety zones around active equipment. The video captures two HVAC or maintenance workers attempting to maneuver a heavy air conditioning unit or condenser head onto an elevated platform or rack using a makeshift or poorly secured scaffolding structure. As one worker ascended to a higher point, the entire temporary elevated platform or ladder structure suddenly failed or collapsed due to instability or improper setup. This structural failure caused both individuals to fall abruptly from the height to the ground below. This incident serves as a critical warning that all work performed at height requires certified, properly erected scaffolding or ladders. Equipment must be inspected for stability and capacity before use. Never overload a temporary work surface, and ensure proper securing and stabilization protocols are followed rigidly to prevent catastrophic falls. The footage shows a man attempting to manually pull a large, heavy crate or palletized load out of a truck bed toward the rear gate. As the man stepped down from the truck, the cargo shifted and began to tilt rapidly toward him. Unable to brace the massive weight, the man lost control, and the heavy crate fell forcefully onto him as it dropped from the truck's height. This incident serves as a crucial safety warning. Manual handling of heavy or bulky freight is extremely dangerous due to the risk of uncontrolled shifting. Proper procedures mandate the use of appropriate mechanical aids, such as forklifts or pallet jacks, and loading ramps for moving heavy objects. Never place yourself in the direct path of a heavy load that is tipping or descending, as the weight and momentum are impossible to manage by hand. The video captures a scene in a warehouse or loading area where a forklift operator was maneuvering the vehicle to retrieve an item. As the operator brought the forklift to a stop, the equipment collided sharply with a tall stack of materials or inventory. The impact immediately destabilized the towering stack, causing the entire vertical structure to collapse dramatically. This incident serves as a critical warning regarding warehouse safety protocols and forklift operation. Operators must maintain precise control and visibility at all times and avoid all contact with stacked inventory. Furthermore, all goods must be stacked correctly, within height limits, and secured properly to prevent catastrophic collapse from unexpected impact or vibration. The video captures a moment where two workers were jointly transporting or maneuvering a large, heavy wooden panel or sheet good. During the process of moving the material, they lost control of the load due to its weight or bulkiness, causing the panel to suddenly and forcefully flip to one side. The tipping sheet collided directly with another worker standing nearby. This event serves as a critical warning regarding the absolute importance of close coordination and safe lifting techniques, even for single loads. When handling large, unwieldy, or heavy materials, workers must always ensure synchronized movement and should utilize dollies, hand trucks, or mechanical assistance if the material exceeds safe limits for manual control. Everyone in the immediate work area must maintain situational awareness and be vigilant around objects being actively moved. The video captures a critical moment on a construction site where workers were performing a hoisting operation involving a large, tall, and heavy formwork or structural component. During movement or positioning, the significant load abruptly lost its balance and fell over with great force. Fortunately, the workers reacted quickly and managed to clear the area just in time to avoid the direct path of the collapse. This event serves as a severe warning regarding the absolute importance of ensuring stability and center of gravity balance for all tall, bulky objects during lifting. It is mandatory to use multiple attachment points and supplementary bracing or guidelines to prevent the load from swinging or tipping. Furthermore, personnel must strictly enforce and respect the exclusion zone where a load could potentially drop or collapse to prevent disastrous accidents. The video documents activity in an aggregate yard or bulk material handling area where heavy machinery, specifically a front-end loader, was actively maneuvering. A worker was positioned or walking within the operational range of the loader, where the operator's visibility may have been compromised by the machine's size or load. Abruptly, the loader moved forward without fully detecting the individual and made forceful contact with the worker. Fortunately, the individual managed to avoid severe injury. This incident serves as a crucial safety mandate. Work sites must establish and strictly enforce clear exclusion zones or pedestrian-free areas to completely separate foot traffic from operating heavy equipment. All equipment operators must meticulously check blind spots before moving, and all ground personnel must maintain a substantial safety distance from moving vehicles to prevent devastating struck-by accidents. The footage shows workers utilizing a mobile crane to transfer a substantial cargo container or large load during a marine or port operation. Due to the extreme weight of the cargo and a critical loss of stability, the crane immediately became overbalanced and tipped violently over. Fortunately, the on-site workers reacted swiftly and evacuated the immediate area, successfully avoiding contact with the collapsing machinery. This incident serves as a severe mandate. Lifting equipment must never be operated beyond its rated capacity. Operators must meticulously calculate the load's weight and center of gravity and ensure the crane is set up with properly extended and secured outriggers on solid ground to maintain absolute stability. Establishing and strictly respecting a clear collapse, radius, exclusion zone is essential for personnel safety during high-risk lifts. The video captures two workers attempting to manually pull a substantial, heavy container or crate from the bed of a delivery truck. During the arduous process, the container suddenly broke apart or opened, causing the contents to shift rapidly and lose containment. The sudden, violent release of weight threw both workers backward with great force, resulting in a fall from the height of the truck bed to the ground. This incident serves as a critical warning that all cargo must be securely contained and properly secured, strapped, braced, or wrapped before transit and unloading. Never use manual force to move loads that show signs of instability or damage. Utilizing mechanical aids and ensuring the structural integrity of the containers are essential steps to prevent loss of control during material handling. The video captures a moment where a worker was performing maintenance or inflation on a large, heavy-duty truck tire. Suddenly, due to excessive pressure, a tire or rim defect, the tire violently and audibly ruptured, releasing an enormous burst of stored air energy. The concussive force of the failure propelled the worker backward, though fortunately, the individual only sustained a minor impact. This incident serves as a severe warning regarding the absolute importance of adhering to stringent safety protocols when servicing high-pressure commercial tires. It is mandatory to use a certified tire safety cage when inflating heavy vehicle tires. Always verify the correct pressure limits, never overinflate, and strictly avoid standing in the direct trajectory of the tire during inflation or repair to prevent catastrophic accidents. The footage captures an individual attempting to descend or transfer from a second-story height to the ground using a rope or cable system. Suddenly, the harness line or anchoring rope violently failed or snapped, causing the man to fall abruptly to the ground from the elevation. Fortunately, the individual only sustained minor injuries from the impact. This incident serves as a critical safety warning. All life safety and fall protection equipment, especially ropes and harnesses, must be rigorously inspected before every single use for any signs of wear, fraying, or compromise. Workers must never rely on damaged or uncertified gear when working at height, and ensuring the anchor point is structurally sound is paramount to preventing catastrophic falls. The video captures a shocking incident where a large mobile crane lost stability and violently tipped over onto the worksite. This severe accident occurred while the crane was actively hoisting heavy equipment, specifically a bulldozer. The critical overload condition from the heavy weight of the machinery, combined with a potential setup issue, resulted in the crane's instability, causing it to collapse and the bulldozer to fall. This event serves as an urgent safety warning. All heavy lifting operations require meticulous planning, precise load-weight calculation, and strict adherence to the crane's load charts. It is mandatory to perform a thorough ground assessment and deploy outriggers on adequate load-bearing pads to ensure absolute stability. Furthermore, only highly trained and certified operators should manage this immense machinery. The video captures the moment two vehicles traveling on the roadway were involved in a sudden and forceful collision. The impact occurred at a relatively high speed, suggesting that one or both parties failed to anticipate the hazard or adhere to traffic regulations. Consequently, both vehicles sustained significant damage and were propelled forcefully away from the point of impact. This event serves as a serious warning regarding the absolute necessity of reducing speed and maintaining maximum vigilance while operating any vehicle. Drivers must always scan the environment and anticipate potential hazards to allow sufficient reaction time, especially near intersections, blind corners, and in areas with poor visibility. Strict adherence to posted speed limits is the crucial element in preventing catastrophic traffic incidents. The footage shows two construction workers attempting to manually erect and hold a large, vertical sheet of material, or wooden panel, in an upright position. Suddenly, one of the workers released their grip or ceased supporting the load. Due to the sheer weight and momentum of the material, the remaining worker was unable to brace the load alone, and the heavy panel immediately tipped over and fell onto him. This incident serves as a crucial safety mandate. All large, heavy construction components being placed in a vertical position must be immediately secured with mechanical bracing, shoring, or permanent fasteners. Never rely solely on manual effort to stabilize substantial materials. Effective teamwork and clear communication are essential, and workers must recognize when a load requires external support to prevent crushing injuries from uncontrolled falls. The video captures a moment inside a warehouse or workshop where a worker was operating a small industrial forklift. While the operator was attempting to reverse the machine, the forklift suddenly lost lateral stability and tipped over completely. This could be attributed to factors such as operator error, inadequate driving skill during the maneuver, or a possible equipment fault like a tire failure. Fortunately, the two nearby workers, or the operator and a nearby person, were unharmed. This incident serves as a crucial reminder. All forklift operators must receive comprehensive training in stability principles and safe maneuvering techniques. Equipment must be inspected daily for mechanical issues, especially concerning tires and counterweights. Operators must always drive slowly and carefully, especially when turning or reversing, to prevent tip-over accidents. The video captures a terrifying incident on a worksite where a lifting device, crane or hoist, was actively transporting a heavy load. Without warning, the sling, chain, or rigging equipment critically failed and snapped, causing the large, unsecured load to plummet directly to the ground. The object impacted the surface alarmingly close to a worker positioned in the immediate vicinity, though fortunately, no personnel were injured. This event serves as an urgent and severe safety warning. It is mandatory to meticulously inspect all lifting gear and rigging components for wear, damage, or defects before every single operation. Personnel are strictly forbidden from standing beneath or within the potential impact zone of any suspended load. Establishing and rigorously respecting a designated exclusion zone is paramount to mitigating the catastrophic risk posed by dropped materials. The video captures a sudden and severe incident on a construction site, reportedly near a university campus, involving a large mobile crane. While the crane was engaged in a lifting operation with a heavy load, it abruptly lost stability, likely due to a critical overload condition or ground failure, and collapsed completely onto the site. This event serves as an extremely urgent safety warning. It is absolutely mandatory that lifting equipment is never operated beyond the manufacturer's specified load chart limits. All hoisting activities require thorough pre-job planning, precise weight calculation, and verification of absolute ground stability and outrigger setup before the lift commences. Rigorous adherence to these protocols is essential to prevent the catastrophic failure of lifting machinery. The video documents a severe incident inside a warehouse where a forklift operator was maneuvering the machine. Due to an operational error, the operator collided forcefully with the structural support of a storage rack system. This impact instantly triggered a catastrophic domino effect, causing multiple racks to completely collapse, sending inventory and potentially heavy stored equipment tumbling to the floor. This event serves as a serious warning. Forklift operators must maintain slow speeds, extreme caution, and strict adherence to designated travel paths to prevent any contact with racking systems. Furthermore, racking must be regularly inspected for damage, and inventory must be stored correctly, ensuring loads are distributed properly and within the rack's capacity to prevent chain reaction collapses. The video captures a construction scene where workers were using a crane to hoist a large timber structure or building component. Due to inappropriate, worn, or incorrectly applied slings and rigging techniques, the load slipped free from its restraints and dropped forcefully. The heavy component impacted and caused significant damage to the partially constructed structure below. This incident serves as a critical warning. It is mandatory to use appropriately rated, certified, and damage-free slings and rigging gear that are suited to the shape and weight of the load. There must be zero tolerance for using damaged rigging or attempting to lift an unbalanced load, as this leads to a dangerous loss of load control, resulting in substantial property loss and placing personnel in extreme jeopardy. The video captures an incident within a material handling area or warehouse, where an operator was utilizing a stand-up forklift. During maneuvering or an attempt to position a load, the operator executed the action too quickly, lacked necessary control, or misjudged the required space. This lapse in skill resulted in the forklift colliding or suddenly destabilizing, causing the large, heavy load on the forks to tip, spill, and scatter across the floor. This event serves as a serious and direct warning. Comprehensive, certified forklift operator training is absolutely crucial. Operators must always travel at slow, controlled speeds and manage their load with extreme precision. Sudden stops, rapid acceleration, or jerky movements are strictly prohibited as they compromise the stability of the elevated load, jeopardizing both inventory and personnel safety. The video captures the process of workers attempting to unload bundles of long aluminum or metal stock from a flatbed truck. Suddenly, the load shifted and lost its stability, causing the entire stack of metal bars to violently tumble and crash down from the truck bed. The falling material landed alarmingly close to a worker standing immediately adjacent to the vehicle, who fortunately managed to swiftly step clear. This incident serves as a serious warning. Personnel are strictly prohibited from entering the line of fire, the area where a load could potentially swing, fall, or roll during loading and unloading. Mechanical supports, such as adequate chocks or braces, are mandatory to ensure the load remains absolutely secure and stable throughout the entire offloading process, preventing sudden and disastrous collapses. The video documents a worker utilizing an extension ladder to perform tasks at an elevated height on a construction site. Alarmingly, the base of the ladder was not properly secured or anchored to the ground or the supporting structure. As the worker moved or performed the task, the ladder's base suddenly slipped out and lost its footing. Simultaneously, the person who was bracing the ladder moved away from the base, instantly removing crucial stability. This failure caused both the ladder and the worker to fall forcefully to the ground. This incident serves as a severe warning. It is mandatory to strictly adhere to fundamental ladder safety rules, including securing both the base and the top of the ladder before ascending. The ladder must always be placed on a firm, level surface and set at the correct, safe angle, the 4:1 ratio. Furthermore, if a spotter is required, they must maintain their position and attention until the worker has safely descended to prevent catastrophic sliding and falling accidents. The video documents an incident during the unloading process where a worker was attempting to manually push or dislodge a large, heavy material or piece of cargo from the bed of a truck. Due to the load being jammed or critically unstable, when force was finally applied, it suddenly and violently rebounded. The unexpected, massive force propelled the worker sharply into the air before they fell onto the ground. This event serves as a serious warning. Appropriate mechanical handling equipment, such as forklifts or cranes, must be used to manage large, heavy, or potentially unstable loads. It is strictly prohibited to use human force to attempt to dislodge stuck or unbalanced freight, as this places workers directly in the line of fire, the path of energy released by an unexpectedly freed or shifting load. The footage shows a worker operating near a series of exposed rotating rollers or pulleys volang on industrial equipment. While the worker was engaged in a task or adjustment, the machinery suddenly activated, or the components were engaged, and the worker's arm became caught and pulled into the moving rollers, cylinders. Fortunately, multiple nearby co-workers reacted immediately to provide assistance and stop the machine's operation. This incident serves as a critical warning. All rotating parts, belts, and rollers must be fully guarded when machinery is operational, as outlined by strict industrial safety standards. Workers must never perform maintenance or tasks near moving components unless the power source is completely isolated and locked out. Lockout, tagut. Establishing and strictly following safe operating and isolation procedures is essential to prevent severe entanglement accidents. The scene captures a worker using a forklift, lifting machine, to transfer large timber logs or wood planks onto a truck bed. Alarmingly, another individual was seated directly on top of the lifted load while the transfer was in progress. Suddenly, the forklift operator lost control of the vehicle, potentially due to excessive speed or sudden maneuvering. The uncontrolled motion caused the cargo to shift or the machine to destabilize, resulting in the entire load being dumped, which forcefully threw the rider off the top of the wood and onto the ground. This incident serves as a critical, non-negotiable safety warning. Riding on any elevated or moving cargo is strictly prohibited in any industrial or construction setting. Only qualified, licensed operators are permitted inside the designated operating compartment. Furthermore, forklift drivers must always maintain slow, controlled speeds and avoid sudden movements to ensure the load remains stable and to prevent dangerous rollovers or falling cargo incidents. The video documents an outbreak of fire, apparently starting in a fuel storage or dispensing area, possibly ignited by an electrical malfunction. A key takeaway is the quick thinking of an individual who immediately utilized a portable fire extinguisher to spray the affected zone. Thanks to this swift and decisive action, the flames were contained and completely suppressed before they could escalate, preventing a much larger incident and extensive property loss. The strategic placement and regular maintenance of basic fire suppression equipment, particularly fire extinguishers, are absolutely vital in any facility, especially those handling volatile materials. All employees must receive thorough training on the proper and effective use of extinguishers to ensure they can react immediately to incipient fires, safeguarding both assets and the working environment. The video captures a hazardous moment on a construction site where a worker on a second-story landing was dropping or tossing planks, sheets of material down to the ground level. Suddenly, a worker on the ground floor stepped into the drop zone and was struck directly on the head by the falling material. Fortunately, this worker was wearing a safety hard hat, which absorbed the impact, causing the individual to only appear briefly disoriented but preventing a major injury. This incident serves as a severe and undeniable safety warning. Wearing a certified hard hat is a mandatory and paramount requirement in any construction or industrial environment. The hard hat is the primary line of defense against the risk of falling objects, drastically mitigating potential impact trauma. Personal protective equipment, PPE rules, must never be disregarded when working beneath or near elevated operations. The video shows two workers in a repair environment using a lifting device, such as a large floor jack or hoist, to raise one end of a large truck bed or container and then leaving it suspended without proper mechanical support. They appeared to be leaning or resting against the unsecured load. Suddenly, due to the uneven weight distribution and lack of a stable base, the lifting mechanism gave way, causing the entire front section of the truck bed to instantly drop and tip. This uncontrolled collapse resulted in the truck bed colliding with the nearby worker. Never rely solely on a lifting jack or hoist to support a load. Once equipment is raised, it must be immediately secured with rated jack stands or solid cribbing before any work is done near or underneath it. Working near or resting on an unsecured, elevated load is a critical violation of safety protocol as it risks severe impact trauma from sudden movement or collapse. The footage shows two workers utilizing a crane to maneuver a large, heavy steel component across a work site. During the move, one worker violated safety protocol by stepping directly into the line of fire, the hazardous, restricted area near the suspended load. Unexpectedly, the lifting cable or a rigging component malfunctioned, causing the massive steel piece to suddenly drop or violently swing downward. The abrupt descent of the load resulted in a severe impact collision with the worker standing in the hazardous area. Personnel must maintain a safe distance and never enter the area beneath a suspended load or its path of movement. Furthermore, all lifting equipment and rigging must be thoroughly inspected before use to prevent catastrophic failures, ensuring that the working area is clear of all non-essential personnel during overhead lifts. The video shows construction workers engaging in a demolition technique where they were using a mobile crane to lift and drop a heavy concrete block onto an existing fixed column, likely to break it apart. As the workers released the load by quickly slacking the cable, the immense force of the heavy block hitting the column caused a massive whiplash effect, recoil, in the crane's cable and hook assembly. The recoiling cable and hook violently snapped back toward the crane, narrowly missing a nearby worker. Extreme caution must be used when operating a crane in dynamic or demolition situations. Operators and personnel must always maintain a substantial safety distance from the line of fire, the path of potential swing or recoil of the cable and load. All personnel must stay clear of the drop zone and be aware of the uncontrolled energy released by sudden load movements. The video captures a dangerous incident during a loading operation where workers were attempting to move a piece of motorized equipment, likely a powered pallet jack, up onto a truck bed. Instead of using a certified, weight-rated ramp or docking plate, they attempted to bridge the height gap with uncertified wooden planks. The moment the equipment attempted to traverse the makeshift ramp, the planks immediately broke or slipped, causing the equipment and its cargo to drop violently to the ground. Never use makeshift or uncertified materials like wood planks as loading ramps for heavy equipment. It is mandatory to use certified, properly rated ramps or dock plates that are securely anchored and capable of supporting the exact load weight. Following this protocol is essential to ensure stability and prevent catastrophic equipment failures when bridging differences in elevation. The video documents a severe incident inside a warehouse where a forklift operator was maneuvering the vehicle. Due to an operational error, the driver collided forcefully with a structural column of the storage rack system. This impact instantly initiated a catastrophic domino effect, leading to the complete collapse of multiple rack sections, sending all stored inventory tumbling down. Forklift operators must consistently maintain low speeds, exercise extreme caution, and strictly adhere to designated traffic lanes to prevent any unauthorized contact with racking. Furthermore, racking systems must be regularly inspected for integrity and protected from impact using guardrails, as even a minor bump can trigger a disastrous chain reaction throughout the storage area. The video documents a severe incident inside a warehouse where a forklift operator was maneuvering the vehicle. Due to an operational error, the driver collided forcefully with a structural column of the storage rack system. This impact instantly initiated a catastrophic domino effect, leading to the complete collapse of multiple rack sections, sending all stored inventory tumbling down. Forklift operators must consistently maintain low speeds, exercise extreme caution, and strictly adhere to designated traffic lanes to prevent any unauthorized contact with racking. Furthermore, racking systems must be regularly inspected for integrity and protected from impact using guardrails, as even a minor bump can trigger a disastrous chain reaction throughout the storage area.